Hey guys, welcome to iCreate. For today's video, we will be creating a foldable grocery cloth bag. This one's very fun and easy to create and perfect if you want to start reducing your plastic waste. So to make this project, we need 2 pieces of 18 by 15 inches lightweight fabric, 2 pieces of 5.5 by 5.5 inches for the pocket, and 1 piece of 35.5 by 15 inches for the lining. First step is we will sew our outer fabrics together. So kaya 2 pieces kasi directional print yung fabric na gamit ko. It means kailangan nakatayo pa rin yung cuts on both sides ng bag. So just lay them right sides together. Make sure same yung direction ng print. Then we will sew the top area only in 1/4 seam allowance. So just pin it and make sure na tama yung direction ng print before sewing your outer fabrics. So don't forget to lock your stitches. And this tutorial is for small size grocery bag. If you want a bigger one, you can check the description box below. Ilalagay ko na lang dun yung details for other sizes. So your outer fabric should look like this. So ang next step naman ay ikakat na natin yung strap area ng ating bag. So fold your fabric in half, wrong side out, then kuha lang kayo ng inyong ruler and ng marker, and from both sides ng inyong fabric, mag-measure lang kayo ng 4.25 inches, and on the other side, 4.25 inches din. And from that mark, mag-measure lang kayo ng 6.5 inches pababa. And ganun din sa other side. Make sure tama yung measurements and i-connect nyo lang using your marker. So, dapat ganyan yung magiging itsura. Then, get a lid kahit anong takip na makikita nyo and gamitin lang natin to para makagawa tayo ng curve sa area na to and sa other side, and yan yung ikakat natin. So, get a scissor or a rotary cutter kung saan kayo sanay, then ikat lang natin. So, ako mag-start ako sa straight lines, iiwanan ko muna yung curve. So, dapat maging ganyan yung itsura niya. And you can use this as your pocket. So, it should look like this. And ulitin lang natin yung process na to sa ating lining. So, kung hindi naman directional print yung outer fabric na gagamitin nyo, you can cut your fabric same size sa ating lining para magiging isang piece na lang siya. And you can proceed na agad to this step. So again, fold your lining in half, wrong side out. And magme-measure lang ulit tayo sa both sides ng 4.25 by 6.25 naman sa part na to, since hindi naman natin siya tinahi tulad ng outer fabric natin. So, didiretsuhin ko na lang siya. Yun yung kinaganda dito sa OmniGrid. Sure ka na straight yung line mo and mas mabilis gamitin. So, cut lang natin ulit yung ating lining. Usually sa curves ang ginagamit ko ay yung mas maliit na rotary cutter. Mas madali yung gamitin sa curves. So, dapat same sila ng size ng outer fabric. So, next step is we will sew our pocket. So, lay them right sides together. Make sure parehas ng direction ng print. And we will sew around this in 1/4 seam allowance, leaving an inch opening para mabaliktad natin later. So let's just pin this and tahiin na natin. Again, magli-leave tayo ng 1 inch opening sa bottom. So mag-start lang tayo ng mga 1 inch before sa edge ng bottom. So don't forget to backstitch. And don't forget to leave an opening. So make sure to backstitch para masecure yung stitch nyo and hindi matastas pag binaliktad natin. So after sewing our pocket, let's trim the corners. Make sure hindi nyo lang makat yung stitch nyo. Then baliktarin na natin yung ating pocket. You can also use your point turner para lang mapop ng maayos yung corners. Then, balik tayo sa ating machine para ma-top stitch lang natin yung top area lang in 1/8 seam allowance dahil hindi na natin siya matatahi later. And for professional look, let's add another stitch 3/4 from the top pa din. So next step is we will now attach our pocket sa ating outer fabric. So here are the measurements. Just pin that in place. And we will now sew the sides and the bottom para ma-close na natin yung opening in 1/8 seam allowance. So make sure yung front fabric lang yung inyong matahi. So don't forget to backstitch, and pag malapit na kayo sa edge, you can backstitch again just to reinforce your stitch dahil magkakaroon ng pressure dito sa pocket na to kasi nga foldable yung ating bag. So, it should look like this. So, dapat hindi nyo matahi yung top area. We will now sew our outer fabric and lining together. So, lay them right sides together. Make sure pantay yung bilog or yung strap area na kinat natin kanina. Then, we will just pin this in place. We can now sew around this in 1/4 seam allowance, so you can start anywhere, just don't forget to backstitch and make sure pantay yung fabric and yung stitch nyo. And you can sew slowly sa curve. So just sew around the strap area, and pag nakabalik na ulit kayo sa start ng inyong stitch, don't forget to backstitch. So your fabric should look like this, and now ititrim lang natin yung curves para mabaliktad natin ng maayos. Just make sure na hindi nyo makat yung inyong stitches. So after that, we can now turn this right side out. After turning this right side out, pwede na natin i-iron yung strap area para lang ma-top stitch natin ng maayos. So after ironing our bag flat, we can now sew around this again in 1/8 seam allowance. So again, you can start anywhere. So just make sure na properly aligned yung fabric para hindi makita yung lining sa labas. And just go slowly para mas malinis tingnan. And pag malapit na kayo sa end, again, don't forget to backstitch. Next step is we will now sew the sides of our bag. So to do that, lay your fabric right side up and i-roll nyo lang yung other side ng fabric papunta sa inyo. Then fold your outer fabric away from you, flip it over, and yung lining naman ay papunta sa inyo. So basically, dapat yung fabric nyo ay right sides together. So let's pin this and sew this in 1/4 seam allowance. So now, let's just turn this right side out para matahi natin yung other side. So ngayon, nasa side natin yung hindi pa natatahi, and nasa other side naman yung natahi na. So let's just repeat the process earlier. Let's just pin this, and again, let's sew this in 1/4 seam allowance. Then, baliktarin lang natin ulit, right side out. You can also iron this flat after natin baliktarin. So now, lay your fabric wrong side out and just fold both sides of your strap in half like this. And lagyan nyo lang ng clip. Then we will sew the center and pwede nyo gamitin yung stitch na nandyan as your guide dahil yan yung center. Pero kung hindi naman directional print yung gamit nyo, you can fold your bag like this and markahan nyo lang yung gitna dahil yan yung center para may guide kayo. So use a coordinating thread and sew your folded strap in place. You can also reverse stitch or back stitch several times para mas matibay lang yung stitch. Then just repeat this sa other strap. So it should look like this. So fold your bag wrong side out, fold them right sides together, and tatahiin lang natin yung sides. But before that, get a ruler and marker and markahan lang natin yung tapat ng end ng inyong strap. So dito tayo mag-i-start ng stitch pababa. So let's just pin this in place and ulitin lang natin yung process sa other side ng ating bag. Then, let's just sew the sides in 1/4 seam allowance starting sa mark. Then, just repeat this to the other side. And make sure to stop sa mark. Then, you can now turn your bag right side out. Then, you can now fold your sides in ng 2 inches kasing laki ng strap ninyo. Then, just clip it in place. Then, just repeat this to the other side. Make sure pantay sila ng strap. Then, we will sew the bottom part in 1/4 seam allowance. Then, turn it wrong side out. And fold the strap and the sides in place. And again, we will sew the bottom part in 1/2 inch seam allowance. And lastly, we can now turn our bag right side out. Just pop the corners properly. And there you go! Our grocery cloth bag is finally done. I hope you enjoyed and find this video tutorial helpful. If you have any questions or content suggestions, comment lang kayo. And please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Have a productive day. Bye!